Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Will, and I'm really excited today to have Justin McCrary on the phone. Justin's in Oklahoma City, and like John Patterson, who was on here recently, he's with Provision Concepts. If you've been listening to the podcast for a while, Aaron Soward was on here. Aaron owns Provision Concepts and was on here a year or so ago, and is a great guy, and he's built a great business. And when I went to him and asked him, who on his team is great at what they do and loves what they do and would enjoy talking about it, Justin and John were right off the top of his lips. So Justin is a GM at one of the properties now, and as they're opening a new location, a new concept in January, he'll be transitioning over to sort of being an area manager for all their concepts and being the GM there. And so he's growing within the business, which is awesome to see and something we'll talk about today. Hey, Justin, thanks for taking the time to do this.
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, man. So tell me, just to get started, I always like to ask people, how did you get into the hospitality business? How and when?
Okay, so I could give you, I'll try to give you the Cliff Notes version, if that works. I actually kind of had a weird path through the restaurant business. I got my first job in the restaurant when I was probably 16 years old, back in like 1999. I'm 35 now. As a busboy, and I was it was a job for me to work through high school, and as I got into college, kind of helped me make some money on the side so I could, have money to spend and everything. I actually was a major in kinesiology. I've been really big into fitness my whole life, and wanted to go into physical therapy. So I studied for 4 years at the University of Oklahoma. Graduated with a degree in kinesiology, and got a job as a physical therapist. And 2 weeks later, I quit because I hated it.
Oh.
And so, like I said, I'd always worked in the restaurant business kind of through high school and college, and I always really enjoyed it. I had actually been offered a couple of management opportunities that I had turned down just because I, was focusing on doing the kinesiology thing. And so shortly after, I just kind of went back to the drawing board, got another opportunity, and decided to take him up on it, and I ended up loving it. And so here I am, 19 years later, in the restaurant business, man, and I love it, and I don't regret a single minute of it. So,
wow, it's interesting how sometimes there's something we think we want to do, and we wind up doing something we may not have thought of, but we find our true calling, which sounds like what happened to you for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It's been interesting because if you know much about Oklahoma, so University of Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are two big rivals, and Oklahoma State actually has a really great hotel restaurant administration. So a lot of the people I work with, they went up through that. So we have a lot of fun times when it comes to football and basketball season outside of work. But
that's cool, man. That's good. Yeah, that's a huge rivalry and a great one.
Yeah.
Oklahoma has been phenomenal lately. You've got that young quarterback. Well, so what? Okay, so clearly, so you go into this thing you went to school for, and after 2 weeks you quit. You come back to the restaurant business, and you said and you love it, and you've been doing it ever since. What is it about the restaurant business that you love? What gets you excited every day?
Yeah, man, all kinds of stuff, honestly. But I guess just off the top of my head, I'm a people person. I love interacting with people. I love talking to people, and I'm sure you probably talk to a lot of people in the restaurant business who say that. I couldn't do the sit in a cubicle 9 to 5 type thing, where I'm by myself. I like being active. It keeps me on my toes. Definitely, it challenges me every day. I love to eat and I love to drink, so I'm really passionate about that stuff. Those are just a few of the things. Teaching and coaching is actually a pretty big passion of mine. I enjoy seeing people grow, and I really feel like I'm throwing a party almost every single day. It's just a different group of people coming in, and I'm trying to give them the best possible experience that I can, and just try to have fun with it. So,
well, it's an interesting thing because as a GM, especially there, you're throwing this party, and you're providing a great time and a great experience and great hospitality for your guests. Meanwhile, teaching and coaching. Gosh, you're doing that all the time, aren't you?
Yeah, it's a full-time part of the job, man. It's just you got in the restaurant business, there's all kinds of people that you work with, and you're working with a lot of young kids, like myself when I was in high school and college, and so just trying to, teach them what it's all about, the hospitality part of it, and just having fun. Having fun while we're at it too is also really important, because at the end of the day, I mean, it is. I'm very hard on myself, and I'm a perfectionist, but I have to tell myself kind of at the end of the day, hey, we are just waiting tables here and serving food and just being hospitable. And so.
Well, it's an interesting thing, man. I mean, especially since you've been doing it for a while, and you've had a lot of experience in the business and just in business in general, and you've probably learned a lot over the years. Do you find yourself being, okay, you have to teach and coach on hospitality, but do you find yourself being a bit of a mentor to a lot of these young folks as well? You kind of see yourself in their shoes at that age and help them with life lessons and things like that? Because I feel like you get a lot of that in the restaurant business.
Yeah, definitely. It's been really cool, especially with my experience working with the company I work for now. Like I said, I kind of got in on the ground floor when we were brand new. We just had one store, and it's been really cool, now to see our growth and our progression. And we've got a lot of people that started out as servers or as greeters, and who are in, very important positions for us right now. So it's been pretty neat to kind of bring them along the way and sort of, give them any kind of wisdom that I may have. And, I don't have all the answers. I don't know. I don't know everything there is to know. I'm still learning every single day. But, that's another thing. Aside from teaching everybody else, being in this business taught me a lot about myself, honestly. Especially becoming a GM, I've learned a lot about my strengths and weaknesses, just how to treat people, problem solving, all that kind of stuff. So it's been a really great experience for me.
What are some things you've learned, man, like strengths and weaknesses that you didn't really know necessarily before you became a GM?
So I'd say definitely some of my strengths are I'm very passionate. I like to think that I am very knowledgeable. I'm learning every single day. I'm a quick learner. I'm a people person. Like I said, I enjoy the relationship part of it and getting to know people and teaching and coaching. I'd say some of my weaknesses. Let me think here. Well, I think I mentioned that I'm a perfectionist.
Yeah.
That could be a strength, but it's also a weakness.
No, it can be. I know.
Like
no,
I said,
you're right.
Sometimes I have to just know that nothing's going to go perfectly. No shift is going to go perfectly. There's going to be things come up. I'm being quick on my feet. And, so that can be kind of a detriment sometimes to me, I think. And I wish I was more creative. I'm a very kind of by the book person, and sometimes it's hard for me to sort of get outside of the box, be really, really creative, and I rely on a lot of other people to help me with that. John, who you talked to a few weeks ago, my executive chef, he's really great. He's really creative and kind of helps me branch out in that area. So yeah, those are just a few things I think that I've kind of learned about myself throughout the years.
Well, do you find though that okay, so there you go, something where you go, well, maybe I'm not naturally really creative. I wish I were. But then do you start to learn over time that that's okay, and that there are other, if you build a good team, you find people that, fill in each other's gaps, and you learn potentially over time to be okay with that and rely on others where that's their strength, because you probably have, strengths that maybe they're weaknesses?
Yeah, definitely. I was actually just talking to a group of our managers the other day, kind of about just focusing on the basics in terms of operations. It's great to be creative, and it's great to stay current with the times and have awesome features and be doing awesome, innovative things. But at the end of the day, the guests are coming in this restaurant for great food, great service, and a great atmosphere. So just make sure that you're doing those basic things is what's going to really ensure your success, I think, and your longevity in the restaurant business. If you're not consistent with those things, and guests come in and don't know what to expect from one shift to the next, then it can be a lot more difficult. So, creativity is definitely important, but I think focusing on the basics more than anything, the day to day, just executing consistently every shift is what's really, really important. So,
well, it really is, man. I tell you, it's an interesting thing. We talk about that a lot at Schedule Flies, just nailing the basics every day. And there's you find less and less of that, it seems like when you go out and you have this experience where you feel like the staff's really engaged, you feel like the service is spectacular, that they care, that they're listening, that they're working hard. Those things are becoming more and more rare, but that's kind of what, that's the basics of of any business really, but particularly hospitality. So that makes a lot of sense, man. It makes a lot of, I mean, you can nail a few things every single day consistently. That sounds simple. It's a simple concept, but boy, the execution is not easy, is it?
Right. That's the key right there. It sounds like like a simple answer and an easy thing to do, but man, I think that's probably one of the most difficult things that I've experienced is being consistent. You know, you have those shifts that go absolutely fantastic and nothing goes wrong at all, no issues. Being able to replicate that on a daily basis is difficult, definitely. So,
yeah, for sure. Well, let me ask you this: what have you? So, have you been? You said you've been there, and the business has been around since 2014, and you've been there the whole time.
Yes, I have. Yes.
So, how did you get involved with these guys initially?
Well, kind of a funny story, but maybe a cool thing. So I worked at a restaurant for about 7 years before Provision Concepts, and my general manager there was Aaron Soward. I was a server or bartender, so I developed a good relationship with him working there for a long time. The funny part of the story is he may hate me for saying this, but he actually had to fire me one day. Man, I was a young kid. I had worked there for a long time, you know, and I was kind of burnt out and kind of just had some stuff happen that, you know, I was young and immature and didn't handle very well, and so he had to do what he had to do. And I didn't burn any bridges. Matter of fact, I went back to him the next day and said, "Hey, I totally understand, and I apologize. I shouldn't have acted the way I acted," you know, and continued to maintain a good relationship with him. I went on and became a manager at a steakhouse here in Oklahoma City, and I was there for 4 years. And when Aaron and Jeff got together to start Provision Concepts, the very first restaurant they opened was a steakhouse, and so they were looking for somebody to come in and be the general manager of it. And so he reached out to me, and we met up, and I decided that I was going to take a risk and come join them. And so yeah, kind of a cool story, kind of a funny story, but just goes to show you, you know, don't burn any bridges. And I also, you know, I think things happen for a reason, man. I think I was kind of meant to go work at that steakhouse and get the experience. Because without that, I don't know that I would have been, you know, the right guy for the job for them. So
that's an interesting story. Very interesting, Justin. Do you tell that story to your staff ever?
I have, yeah. I've told it a couple of times. Like I said, I don't know if Aaron ever knows that I tell that story or whatever. But like I said, I like to be, you know, I was a kid, I was young, and, you know, everybody makes mistakes and does silly things or whatever. And the biggest learning thing is that you could, you know, it's not the end of the world. You can recover from it. And like I said, just maintaining relationships is the important thing. So,
well, I think it's a really valuable story, man, because you're right, because a lot of young folks, they're going to do the same thing. But the way you handled that was so wise. That's why I asked about being a bit of a mentor. See, that's a great example to share, because there's going to be people probably on your team that do something stupid, and you have to let them go. And then the question is, what do they do to respond? Do they, you know, storm off and cuss you out and burn a bridge, or do they go, "Hey, man, like, okay, I get it. You made a good decision. My bad. You know, I'm going to work to regain your respect, even though I won't be working for you," or whatever. Like, there you go. And next thing you know, that person grows from that and becomes possibly, you know, one of your most loyal people one day. I mean, that's a really cool story, man. I love that. Yeah. I think that's awesome. Do you, well, let me ask you this. You said you were into fitness, and I mean, I know you studied that, but you still are clearly. So is that something that you all foster within the organization? I'm just curious about that, because, you know, I mean, I'm 44 now. It took me a long time in life to really realize this stuff, but I've gotten, over the last, 10 years or so, I've gotten really into fitness and what I eat and all that. It's amazing, just how much more productive and effective and happy and, able to do the things you need to do you are when you just take good care of yourself. Is that part of your culture there? I know you can't force everybody to do things, but do you guys kind of spread that philosophy?
Yeah, we definitely always talk to our staff about, trying to stay healthy and trying to do the right things. And we're like I said, we're a small company. We're growing bigger and bigger. But one of the things kind of on the horizon for me when we reach that point would, maybe be in terms of like a benefit package to offer like gym memberships to certain members of the staff or whatever. So that's maybe more accessible to them or something like that. I know there's a lot of corporate times kind of partnerships, and you can sort of get some good deals and things like that. So that's definitely something I've thought about and wanted to maybe do down the road. More than anything, it's been challenging just from a food standpoint, because like I said, being in the restaurant business and loving to eat and trying to watch what I eat doesn't always go hand in hand.
I bet that's not man.
I think that's another. I think that's another really important thing too, because in this day and age, with the kind of the direction I see a lot of restaurants going, I think it's very important to really be able to cater to a wide variety of people. We just recently had a lot of requests for like gluten-free items and vegan options and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not a vegan, and neither is anybody else that I work with. So our chef, and all of us kind of got together, and we got a bunch of ingredients and started making a bunch of recipes, trying to come up with some food. And man, we made a lot of bad food before we finally made some stuff that was good enough and worthy enough to go on the menu. So that was definitely a learning experience in and of itself. But
oh, that's really cool. Well, I like the trial and error part of that, man. That's how you figure it out.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's very cool. Well, what have you? That's interesting. So you've had a cool relationship then with Aaron. I mean, that's a really interesting story. What have you learned from him? He was your GM, and then he left and started this thing. Went out as an entrepreneur. What are some of the things you've learned from him over the years?
Oh man, I think more than anything, he's kind of helped me learn how to treat people and how to deal with people and how like I said, the relationship part of it is so important. Like I said in the beginning, it is about food and service and execution, but it's also about the relationships, and just forcing me to get out there and get to know people and do those kinds of things. And he's always been really, really great with that, just kind of on helping me out on the personal side of it. Not so much the numbers and the costs and all that kind of stuff, but just like the real interactions with the guests. And he's really great with that stuff. So.
Yeah, how you make people feel is such a big component. It's not measurable, but boy, it's a big component of hospitality. If you figure that out, it's just the relationships you build with people and the way you make them feel and feeling validated and all that kind of stuff are hugely important to keeping people coming back for more.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I've had the opportunity to travel a little bit over the last year, and I know like a lot on the West Coast, a lot of places are going to these, like they're replacing people with like iPad, and it's like you don't even have a server. You just put your order in on an iPad, and somebody drops it off, and they're kind of, it's helping them cost-wise, but it's taking away part of what I feel is like the experience. And like I said, you go out and you have a great server or a great bartender that gives you that personality and that level of service. So I'm kind of glad we're holding on to that here. At least for now in Oklahoma. We'll see if that trend starts to work its way out this way, but I'm happy with the way it is for now, for sure. So,
well, there's probably a place for that, man. But I mean, it's almost like the more of that there is, the more valuable the places that have good people are, because we're always, there's always room for a place where you can go where it's not just automated and robotic, but where there's interaction with people that care about you and ask about you and provide you great service and seem to, I mean, that's just a basic need. I feel like you said, kind of getting back to the basics, that's a basic need that if you can fulfill that well. I can't imagine that not always being around, but yeah, it's an interesting thing to see for sure. I'm glad you guys have that focus, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you taking the time to share some of your time with us and your story and what you love about the business. And that was a phenomenal story about
Yeah.
I mean, that really is a great story, man. It really is a good example of the importance of, learning your lesson, not burning bridges and growing from that, man. So I commend you on how you handle that, and it's worked out real well. So that's awesome. And by the way, the last thing I want to ask you about is, so tell me about what's happening in January and how your role is going to change and what that means to you.
Yeah, so in January we're opening a pizza place called Bira Bira. And at that point in time, like I said, I'm going to be coming out of operations in one single store, and I'll kind of be overseeing operations in all 7 of our stores. I've kind of already sort of started to transition into that role, which has been difficult because I'm still working full time here at one restaurant and then trying to be involved in all the other restaurants and making sure I'm there to oversee things and give them guidance and advice. But like I said, I'm really looking forward to it. As I said in the beginning, teaching and coaching is definitely a big passion of mine, and so to be able to have that freedom to not be tied to any specific store and kind of be able to go around to the different stores and help anyone out with anything I possibly can, and just make sure that we're, like I said, focusing on the basics and doing all the things that we're supposed to do, and building relationships with our guests. I'm really, really looking forward to it. So.
Well, congratulations on that, and congratulations with for being a part of a really good growing business. That's one of the things I really love about the independent restaurant business is, folks that get it right, like Aaron. They start with one place, and then if you get it right, you go do another one, and if you have the right formula, then you grow a business. And what's great about that is if you're part of that team, you just grow with the team over the time and over the years, and work hard and put your tail into it, and opportunities present themselves. So that's really cool, man, that you've been able. I mean, you've clearly grown a lot with Aaron and with Provision Concepts. I'm sure you'll continue to. So that's a great challenge, it sounds like, ahead of you. And I know you'll be working hard at it, but it sounds like a really good opportunity. So congrats.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. And we're next step after that, we're actually going to be expanding into Tulsa. Potentially.
Nice.
So Tulsa's about it's about an hour and a half away from Oklahoma City, so not too far of a drive. But so yeah, it's just been really exciting to see this company grow just in the 4 years that we've been here, and I'm incredibly thankful for the opportunity from them that they gave me and the faith that they showed in me, because they hired me to be the GM of Broadway 10 4 years ago, and I didn't have any GM experience at that time. I had a lot of assistant manager experience, so they took a big risk on me, and I took somewhat of a risk going from a pretty well established company to a brand new company, and but we've got a great group of people and a great team, and so I think there's going to be a lot of success for us in the future.
Well, that's awesome, man, and good luck with Tulsa, because there's a whole different challenge, right? Like being all in one city and now being an hour and a half away and figuring that out you guys will have fun doing that. I'm sure you'll figure it out. It'll be a big challenge for you, and I know that's always a good thing to have those things and learn how to make it work. And I congratulate you and Aaron and the business for the growth y'all are having. And man, we're just stoked to serve y'all, and I just appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to do this very much, Justin.
Oh, definitely. I was actually I joke around with my wife a lot. I really enjoy podcasts, and I joke around with her about wanting to do one day. Maybe start a podcast like kind of like this one is, where we just talk about the restaurant business and our experiences and the things we've learned. And of course, I don't have much of a following right now, but who knows? Maybe one day I'll get into that part too. We'll see what happens.
Well, you know what? They're great. I listen to a lot of them as well, and enjoy doing them. And I mean, it's just a great opportunity to talk to really cool people and learn a lot. And so, yeah, man, that's awesome. Well, I'll if you ever have any interest, I mean, I can, gosh, the equipment and the process is, I mean, it's just so easy. It really is. So it's an easy thing to pull off. So if you ever have any questions about it, man, let me know. What are some of your favorite podcasts, by the way, just out of curiosity? I always ask people that listen.
Oh, you know what? None of them are really related to the restaurant business. And I mean, I do listen to a bunch of different ones, but actually, and I'm kind of embarrassed to admit it, but Bill Burr, he does a Monday morning podcast.
That's awesome.
Man, I look forward to that thing. He does one on Monday and one on Thursday, and he's a comedian.
Yeah.
And he talks about all kinds of different stuff and life stuff in general, and there's some sports in there and, all kinds of stuff. And so I really enjoy listening to those. But when we take road trips every once in a while when we're driving somewhere, instead of listening to the radio, we'll just find the podcast to listen to and kind of entertain ourselves that way. And it always seems like a really fun thing to do. The people who do them seem like they really enjoy it. I like to talk. I'm like I said, I'm a people person, so it's something I'm always interested in. Always been interested in. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, I mean, I trust me. I've got a full library of podcasts. I listen to them all the time. It's good stuff. Well, listen, man, I'll let you go. Tell Aaron I said hey, and thank you very much for the time. And I'm sure we'll catch up again soon. If you ever need anything, you know where I'm at.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, I really appreciate you guys.
All right, man. Take care.
You too.
All right. See you, Justin.